Well, nothing feels better than a little sunshine, and in my opinion, nothing looks better than a little tan. But fun in the sun leads to damage on our skin. Today, an exciting new treatment that helps get rid of sunspots. Dr. Deborah Mangione is the medical director of the Wisconsin Vein Center and Medispa. Good to see you.
Hi, Tiff. Nice to see you.
Yeah, so let's talk about these sunspots or age spots, because if we're realistic, sunspots on our hands, on our neck, on our face, make us look older.
That's right, because it's a cumulative damage. And so the more you're out in the sun, the more likely you are to develop these spots. And of course, we always refer to them as age spots. But in truth, if you had never been out in the sun, you probably would never have the spots.
So they really are caused by the sun?
Yes, they are.
Okay, it's not just by a matter of getting older. You wouldn't get these naturally.
No, you don't usually get them unless you've been out in the sun and gotten a lot of sun exposure over time. And so, you know, hands are the area that really give our age away, because, you know, we are becoming more educated about what we can do for our faces and help get rid of the spots and the damage on our faces, but the hands aren't usually treated. And so now these happen to be my husband's hands. Now my husband spends a lot of time outside. This is his left hand, of course. He spends a lot of time outside. He also flies, and so as a pilot, there's not glass in the window, so he has even less protection. It's an acrylic, and so he really gets a lot of exposure to the sun. So his face, his neck, and his hands really are exposed a lot.
Yeah.
And so what we used on this, we asked him to come in as a guinea pig so we could work on his hands.
Well, and I think about, you know, my mom working in the garden a lot during the summers, and then after the summer she'll have a lot of the spots on her hands. And so there's a way to get rid of them, though.
That's right. Now, you know, we've always talked about intense pulse light treatments on the face, and that's usually a series of 3 treatments we would do. And if somebody really has a lot of damage, we can kind of up the intensity of the treatment by using Alumera or one of the photosensitizers, as we've discussed before. On the hands, we can do that too, but this really works. This is a Q-switch laser that we use, and what a Q-switch means is that we are shortening the actual pulse duration of the laser wave. And so, you know, you usually have a laser wave is, you know, kind of an undulating waveform or a little squared off wave. That's the ideal one. And what we're doing is we're narrowing that so all the energy is delivered deeper and with a lot more force into the tissues. And so it's a very short pulse of energy that's very intense, and it more or less shatters the pigment. It doesn't hurt when you're doing just spots like this, but it's basically the same laser we use for tattoo removals. And so what we can do is shatter that pigment in the age spots, and it comes to the surface. It may look a little red and a little darker for several days, and then it either flakes off or it just gradually fades away over the course of 2 or 3 weeks.
So the benefit to changing this wavelength, which is overly technical for me, is the fact that it can be targeted so specific.
We can target it specifically in such a way that the power, the intensity of the laser is much, much higher, and so it really does shatter and break up that pigment.
So one thing I want to ask you about, because I remember when you actually had done a spot treatment to Sarah's face when she had a lot of sunspots, one of your patients that was on our show. And for a little while, it brings the spots forward, correct?
That's correct.
So this time of year is actually a good time to do it, because for a little bit, your hands might get a little darker, is that right?
They definitely will. The spots will get darker. You can wear gloves at this time of year, which is nice. And as it's a little more predictable on the face how long that will last. It's never more than a week that you get the pigment to the surface, and then it just exfoliates off naturally. The hands and the body tend to do that a little bit more slowly. But they do. It just, you know, gently goes away over time, either by flaking off or just by being absorbed by your tissues, and so it just disappears.
And I've done treatments similar where on my face, I feel like you just kind of look a little tan for a couple days.
Yeah, you can.
So to me, it's not a big deal.
Usually it's easy to cover with makeup on your face. These spots can become a little bit more intense than that as they're being treated, but they definitely go away, and it's a wonderful result to have this. People are really excited about it.
And you look a lot younger, which is always good.
You look a lot younger.
You've got a great special.
We have
the
a
12 days. 12.
The 12 days of Christmas. We're
ELF. 12.
Yeah, we're doing lots of little elves this month. And so this is one of our specials, and this is today's special, the 8th day. And this is a hand treatment with a new Q-switch spot treatment laser. And so for just $300, you can have your hands treated, and you'll get a free cream, what we call a rejuvenating Lumiquin hand cream, which you can put on the backs of your hands every day, every night actually, and let it sit overnight. And that will also help to plump the skin, make it more moisturized, rejuvenate it, and it helps to inhibit pigment formation. as you go forward. So it's really a nice additive to this treatment.
Absolutely. So eventually, once you actually fix the age spots, it becomes preventative as well.
That's right.
So there was the 12 days at Christmas that you can get the special for. It's a $300 Q-switch spot, and then you get the hand treatment, which is valued at over $50 to help prevent in the future. The Wisconsin Vein Center Medispa is located on Georgetown Drive in Pewaukee. The phone number is 262-746-9088 to make your appointment, or visit them online to follow the rest of their specials too at wimedispa.com.
That's
Thanks
right.
for being here, Doctor.
Thank you so much,
Happy
Tiffany.
holidays.
Merry Christmas to you too.